I don't think we're doing enough. We have the opportunity to be able to put pressure on Google and Apple to remove this application from its store. We have an opportunity to be able to build better regulation within the United States and actually set up infrastructure that could block access to this data or this data leaving our environment. It's not something that the U.S. has set up today.
That was former defense cybersecurity leader Brian Hogley on this program with me yesterday on regulating TikTok in the United States. FBI Chief Christopher Wray told lawmakers this week that he is, quote, extremely concerned about the Chinese social media app, many citing it as a national security threat. FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr was among the first to sound the alarm on TikTok. He joins us right now. Commissioner, it's great to have you this morning. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for being here.
Good to be with you. Thanks so much.
I'm going to show the TikTok response, but first, lay out the national security threat for us about TikTok.
Well, just this week, FBI Director Chris Wray, as you indicated, testified in Congress and said that from the FBI's perspective, they are very concerned about the national security threat. And this is very significant for a couple reasons. This is the very first time I'm aware of that anyone in the administration has gone on the record to express national security concerns about TikTok. And the timing is significant because right now the Treasury Department is undergoing what's called a CFIUS review of TikTok. And a lot of people expect that review to be winding up in the next couple of weeks. In fact, the New York Times recently leaked that there's a preliminary deal already in place with TikTok that, according to the New York Times, the number 2 with the DOJ, Lisa Monaco, those familiar with her thinking, don't think is tough enough on TikTok. So when you pair that internal leak about the DOJ not thinking the deal is tough enough with Chris Wray going public just this week with the FBI's concern, I have a hard time seeing how the Biden administration can credibly wind down that CFIUS review in a way that allows TikTok to keep operating.
So what are they doing? They obviously have access to people's user data. TikTok is owned by a Chinese company. Are they sending that data to the CCP? And why? What's the motive? What is the CCP doing with it?
Yeah, it's two things. It's the data flow back into China and then the recommendation algorithm back here. Chris Wray himself laid out 3 points this week, which is, one, all this data is flowing back into China. Up to now, TikTok officials have said, don't worry, the data is stored on servers in the U.S. Not so. There's leaked internal communications that show everything is viewed back in China. And what is that? Search and browsing history, keystroke patterns. They reserve the right to collect biometrics, including face prints and voice prints. Also, there's a new report that had Beijing officials with ByteDance, the parent company, looking to surveil the location of specific Americans. And the other thing Chris Wray said was the recommendation algorithms. TikTok is different than Facebook or Twitter. You don't choose who to follow on TikTok. They make the decision about what to feed you, and that can be used for a foreign influence campaign. Chris Wray also said they could potentially technically compromise your device. So these are very serious remarks coming from the FBI director.
All right, here's the response from TikTok to the comments that you made. Commissioner Carr has no role in the confidential discussions with the U.S. government related to TikTok and appears to be expressing views independent of his role as an FCC commissioner, says TikTok.
Well, look, what I'm talking about here is FBI Director Chris Wray, who is involved directly. The discussions coming out of the New York Times about Lisa Monaco, and Democrat Senator Mark Warner, chair of the Senate Intel Committee, has said that it's TikTok that scares the dickens out of him. So I don't know why TikTok is focused on me as opposed to the Democrat members of Congress and those inside the administration that are expressing these exact types of concerns.
Connect the dots to FTX because the company was first founded in Hong Kong, FTX, and then they moved the company to the Bahamas. So FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried is going to testify at a hearing next month. What do you want to hear from him? Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is demanding action, saying, quote, the recent failure of a major cryptocurrency exchange and the unfortunate impact that has resulted for holders and investors of crypto assets demonstrate the need for more effective oversight of cryptocurrency markets. We should point out that one of the leading funders of FTX, also a leading funder of one of the leading venture capital firms in the country right now. So is there a CCP connection?
Well, look, I think what this all underscores is the broader need for oversight and accountability. You know, you look back at the last 2 years, and I'll just speak at the FCC, for instance. Ordinarily, 2 years into a Congress like we are right now, we would have had roughly 12 oversight hearings of the FCC and therefore the telecom industry. We've had one oversight hearing of the FCC where we usually have 12. And so I hope to see heightened oversight and accountability. I hope that we soon do see it. And there's some good signs on the horizon. As you mentioned earlier, Democrat Chairwoman Waters and Ranking Member McHenry sent a letter to FTX. So I do hope that we start to see the long overdue accountability and get the answers to some of these questions.
Yeah, Batya, jump in.
Yeah, Commissioner, hi. Batya Ungar-Sargon from Newsweek. I so appreciate your comments on TikTok. My question is, Elon Musk, right, owner and CEO of Twitter currently, this is a man who is deeply connected to China, deeply connected to the Chinese Communist Party. His entire supply chain is in China. All of the batteries for Tesla are created there. He built a showroom for Tesla in the Xinjiang region where the genocide of the Uyghurs is happening. So this is a man who is very, very into bending the knee to China. I mean, isn't there a worry? Don't the same worries that apply to TikTok to some degree apply now to Twitter as well?
Well, look, I think Elon Musk has staked out a pretty clear line that he's going to be pro-free speech, pro-diversity of opinions. But to your point, there's a lot of people that are critical of him, whether it's the points that you raised there or people worried about him having too much control over the free flow of information on Twitter. And that's why my position has been we should not simply rely on the hopefully benevolence of a billionaire when it comes to a social media platform like this that is effectively the digital town square. That's why my position has always been we need to step in. I think Congress needs to with pro-speech guardrails to protect diversity of opinions on Twitter, on social media. And I think that would mitigate or address entirely these types of concerns that are being raised.
Yeah, that's a great point. Brendan, why do you think there were no hearings on TikTok? Is that because the Democrats and oversight run by Maxine Waters was conflicted because of money she was getting from Bankman-Fried?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, look, I think going forward, at least, we should not let the partisan bent of political donations influence oversight and accountability. So there should be no free pass or, frankly, no harder scrutiny either on the other side of the equation based on the political donations. But it's very clear that we've been missing oversight in this country for the last 2 years. Billions of dollars have been spent on infrastructure packages, for instance, where there's almost no oversight right now from Congress. And I think it's time for that to change.
And $91 billion sent to Ukraine as well. Brendan, thanks very much. Good to see you.